One day ahead of critical midterm elections, commuters in Atlanta, Georgia, weighed in on the issues top of their minds on Monday. For many, inflation and women's and LGBTQ+ rights were front and center.
Top of my mind, especially being in Georgia, is women's rights. And of course the economy is a concern as well. But top concern for me, women's rights.
I already voted, and economy, security, national security, those types of things.
Well, I think inflation is probably first and foremost for me. Women's rights is right there. I'm not too concerned about gun control. I'm not too concerned about the Second Amendment, First or Second Amendment. So,
inflation and all that, that's been hitting all of us, but I do see that not being an issue in the future, but long term, I think the state of our democracy is probably the top issue for me.
Overall, human rights are really important. LGBT rights, abortion rights, women's rights, those are probably the most important to me, just given my family history and kind of what's important to me on a day-to-day. So.
Equality, just equality, period. Like, it has to be equal amongst everybody.
I think really socially, that's like my biggest driver to get the vote out, because I don't know, I think economically we're not as directly affected as young people. I mean, I think that is an issue, but I think socially that's a much larger issue that we have to deal with. So.
The outcomes of Tuesday's US midterm elections hold far-reaching consequences on issues such as abortion, voting rights, and guns. In what is expected to be one of the closest races of the cycle, in Georgia, freshman Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is up against Herschel Walker, who is endorsed by former President Donald Trump. Walker is a former college football star who has been hampered by a series of scandals, including allegations of domestic violence. A vocal anti-abortion advocate, Walker's campaign was rocked by reports that he paid for multiple former girlfriends to have abortions in the past. Warnock, who serves as pastor at the Atlanta church once led by Martin Luther King Jr., won a surprise victory in a special election in early 2021, giving Democrats control of the US Senate. If neither candidate gets 50% of the votes, the race will go to a runoff in early December.
Hoping that Stacey Abrams get a chance to prove all that she's been talking about. So I'm really looking forward to her being elected. I'm hoping that that happens. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be devastated.
I think Warnock, Raphael Warnock, would be best suitable to represent us. Well, not just us, but everybody. The whole nation.
I think that football players should stay football players, and we should leave the politics to people more, involved in that world, and that, that's what I think. So.
I hope that my candidate wins, and that candidate is not Herschel Walker, but I do have a lot of thoughts that are probably not appropriate for this conversation. So.
Warnock is my choice. I'm hoping that he gets to continue his reign right now. So hopefully he doesn't get kicked off for, I can't even call his name. It's ridiculous. The options, it's one thing to have a qualified candidate that you can trust even if your candidate doesn't win, but it's a lose-lose if Warnock doesn't get in.
Georgia has seen a record-breaking number of early voters, according to Georgia's Secretary of State office. More than 1.25 million residents have already voted as of Friday, far ahead of the total 730,706 at this point in 2018, the year of the last midterm election.